Rams to take advantage, not the other way around, which has been the case in years past. Well, get set. The opening kickoff is coming up. It's the 1997 Moore League season kicking off as Millikan plays host to Long Beach Poly. My name is Willie Padilla. Along with me, Errol Parker, Eddie Van Geis, and the rest of our Charter Communications crew, head up by our Rob McKimson, our producer-director. Stay with us. Opening kickoff is coming up next. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. We come to you from the campus of Millikan High School as the Long Beach Poly Jackrabbits travel to face the Millikan Rams. Game 1 of the Moore League season as Poly and Millikan get together. This is Game 6 of the 1997 campaign. Millikan enters with a record of 3-2, Poly 5-0. We'd like to remind you that Charter Communications is happy to present to you our coverage of Long Beach High School football. And our coverage is also brought to you in part by the Long Beach Unified School District, where today's scholars are tomorrow's leaders. And by Avid Electronics. Why settle for ordinary when it comes to your video? And by Cervello Sports Stop and Restaurant, your place for pro football on Sundays.
Nicely done, Mr. Padilla. Our 10th season. Many times we've been here at Millikan High School. None is probably more important than the present. The Millikan defense has a great challenge tonight, Willie. They must stop a very, very fine offensive unit by the Long Beach Poly Jackrabbits. Now, we did not mention the fact that the Poly does have some very fine receivers, led by Andre Siris, Koiki Watts, Sammy Parker, and the premier wide receiver, Kareem Kelly.
But your receivers are only as good as the quarterback that gets them the ball.
And
Chris
only
Lewis,
as good as the offensive line that protects that quarterback.
That's right. It all goes hand in hand, and as the old saying goes, you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Now, the Millikan Rams have not been scored on this home turf. They're coming off 2 consecutive wins, Santa Ana and Downey. At
3-2, Millikan, the only other besides Poly winning team in the Moore League right now. Jordan, 1 win. Lakewood, a couple wins. Wilson, 1 win. Compton, a win. We're about ready to get underway. As the kickoff by Kenneth Caceres is whistled dead. That's not the way to start things. It probably would have been a touchback except for the encroachment. And we'll take a look at the offense. Chris Lewis, even though they're going to kick it again. Herman Ho Ching, Larry Kroom in the backfield. At receivers, Mason Mitchell, Kawika Watts, Kareem Kelly, who Errol just mentioned. At line, Seth Tago, Luis Trujillo, William Kofi, Joe Veach, and Robert White. And while you would expect Poly to have the ball at this point, encroachment by the special teams will cause the Rams to kick it over again. And I would hope this is not a sign of things to come. You know, if you're the Rams coaching staff, you have to say to yourself, geez, we've already lost 5 yards in penalties. No time off the clock. That's not the way to start.
Especially against a team that's rated number 2 in the CIF and number 5 in the state.
So much for mistake-free football. We'll try it again. Caceres, line drive kick, fielded and downed at the 30. In a sense, it works for the Rams as receiving it for Poly, Michael Brown, and the Ram defense, which will be charged with the responsibility of trying to stop this Poly offense. The secondary, Leyland Haas, Alfred Durr, a good one at right corner, the safety, Gary Davis. Linebackers, Tyler Vielander, Jesse Magwadog, E.J. Ashby, and Matt Shaver. And the line, Steiner Falpusa, Javier Alvarez, Junior Taufa, and Tim English. That's Taufi.
Taufi is a good one.
First down and 10 from the 30 as Lewis barks out the signals. Back split. It's given to Ho Ching. Ho Ching gets around Haas and gets 8 before going out of bounds, but he didn't go out of bounds. He stayed in bounds and picked up another 5 before finally being dragged down, gets the first down, and I believe a flag thrown at the tail end of the play. Or was there?
The Jackrabbits had 2 receivers on the wide side of the field. This is just outrunning number 91 from Millikan, Tim English.
But watch here how he stays in bounds. Can't hold on. There was no flag on the play. Finally, Ho Ching brought down. Riding him down was E.J. Ashby, first down and 10 from the 44.
Now, you know that Ho Ching is chomping at the bits, not playing last week and seeing his running mate get 228 yards. He wants to establish himself.
Again, it's Ho Ching, stutter steps on his feet. He could be gone. Instead, he's dropped after a huge pickup. Finally brought down by Alfred Durr. They are not tackling right now, are the Rams.
And this is not the type of start that you want. Now, watch Ho Ching. He just bounces on the outside. Watch the feet of Ho Ching, and we've been watching him for 3 years. He's a fine runner, and it was a touchdown-saving tackle by Alfred Durr.
Come on, D!
Flag. It'll be against the Jackrabbits. Ho Ching, big yardage thus far.
The Jackrabbits are establishing the run as we see the flag on the field.
It'll be against the Rams, encroachment. Usually when it's whistled dead, it's against the offense for procedure. But they'll call encroachment dead ball before the snap.
Well, this is not the kind of way that Coach Tony Peralta wanted this team to start. First, they have a penalty on the kickoff. Then Ho Ching gets two very good runs for long yardage, and now a penalty.
This time, Kroom slips a tackle in the backfield, but he can't slip the second tackle as making the play 42, Gary Davis.
Tim English had the tackle in the backfield, and that's what the defensive coordinator Dickinson was telling me for the Rams a couple of days ago when I interviewed him, Willie, that we must make the first tackle wrap, either get some help or get an unassisted tackle. They have been not doing it thus far in the early going.
Second down and 3 after the 5-yard penalty against the Rams and the 2-yard run by Kroom. It's Ho Ching who gets not really driven out of bounds, but tiptoes the line before stepping out of bounds.
The Rams run a 4-4 defense, but before this night is over, the way that Kroom and Ho Ching runs the football, they may commit more than 4 individuals at the line of scrimmage.
A pickup of 2 for Ho Ching, and now it's third down and a long yard. As the football at the 25. Jackrabbits behind Ho Ching, who has already rushed for nearly 50 yards. The give goes to Kroom, and although he stopped immediately, he does drive forward for what appears to be a Jackrabbit first down.
Tyler Vinlander on the stop for the Rams.
Didn't get much, didn't need much.
That record of not being scored on their home turf is
imminent danger.
Yes, very serious danger at this point.
38 yards rushing for Ho Ching, 5 rushing for Kroom. Not a pass yet. We may see it here. Lewis stops, plenty of time, and it's picked down the sideline. I believe it's Durr. Durr caught from behind. He saw it coming. He picked it clean. It was Leyland Haas, not Alfred Durr, Leyland Haas.
Well, Haas is supposed to be the weaker link of the Ram secondary, but that time Lewis telegraphed the pass and threw it the wide side of the field. It takes a strong throw, but Haas was in the right position to intercept the pass.
Leyland Haas was waiting back.
Lewis had plenty of time to throw this pass, but it was picked off easily.
He could have sent a wire because he telegraphed that one. So from the 12 to the 48, good return. A return of 36. First play pass incomplete. We'll take a look at Millikan's offense. Mike Gary, the quarterback, who just threw that incomplete. Paul Ear, DeAndre Grant, a fullback, and we mean full. Eric Slater, Kyle Moore, Mark Wells, the receiving core. The line, Daniel Zuniga, Abrat Saini, Mike Walbridge, Vance Hardy, and Desmond Otis. And never thought you'd see Abrat out on the field, but that's exactly what we've got.
Oh, you started already.
Penalty, pass interference against the Jackrabbits. And you were saying before we went on the air, and though you'd never admit it, that there's some question about the defense for Long Beach Poly, and it would start possibly in their secondary.
I think that's where it starts. If you're going to beat the Jackrabbits, that's where it starts.
Pass complete on the inside, first down, and the Rams have come to play. How about that?
Well, let's look at the defense.
The defense, Carl Green, Antoine Casey, David Sims in the secondary. Linebacking core, Mike Brown, Reggie Butler, Nate Tago, and the line, Lou Trujillo, Richard Heislaker, Ryan Ayada, and Mason Mitchell.
The Rams are going to the quick pass, and they've been beating the Jackrabbits inside.
1st and 10 from the 20. For the corner for Durr, batted away, and very close to an interference since the secondary player, number 21, Carl Green, was not looking at the ball. If he's playing the ball, it's one thing, but if he's just getting in the way of the receiver and waving it in his hands.
Nice strong arm by Aguirre.
Whoa.
And that was very close to being a reception. There was very good defense by number 21, Carl Green. Aguirre is getting time to throw the football, and any quarterback can be dangerous with some average receivers with that much time.
2nd down and 10. This big DeAndre Grant stays on his feet, gets to near the 10, which is where he had to go for a first down. A year ago, he had a touchdown run of nearly 90 yards, which is saying something with a 230-pound mass moving that nobody could catch him over that distance.
Now, there was a little trap play. Number 78 for Poly was trapped, and that was Luis Trujillo, who is a very good down lineman. And as a result, DeAndre Grant gets about 13.
DeAndre Grant listed at 5'11", 239 pounds, akin to a mailbox.
We saw another power runner last year at Wilson High School, Jermaine Mack, who's at San Diego now, and he is a fine one. And DeAndre Grant is a similar type runner. The inexperienced offensive line for the Rams is clicking so far.
What Mack also had going for him is that he played a great defense. 1st and 10 from the 10. We'll actually say outside the 10, since a first down could be gained by the Rams. Sprint to the outside by Paul Ear, and he was trying to get around the corner, got a couple yards, but not much.
Reggie Butler, the middle linebacker, made the tackle that time. He's a good player. He's a sophomore, goes from side to side very well. Dennis Link, the normal middle linebacker who was moved to outside linebacker, will not play tonight because of an injury.
Hurry up offense. Not that they want to snap the ball quickly, but they want to keep the Pauley defense at bay, keep them from making any switches. Aguirre in trouble, and down he goes. That was a sack you might want to credit to the secondary, because Aguirre couldn't find a receiver.
On the short side of the field, no play action here. He looks off to both sides, and he decides to run the football, but the pursuit of Poly was a little bit too much. Butler again on the tackle.
On Aguirre's part, at least he was making a move forward. He only lost 3 on the play.
And he didn't throw the ball for an interception. He tucked it in and took the loss. Shows a sign of an experienced quarterback.
Indeed, I agree. Flags are down. Everyone pointing at each other. Even interestingly enough, is number 80, Justin Peterson, who's waving, and he's a wide receiver as far away from the line of scrimmage as anybody. It is encroachment against the Jackrabbits.
And I think Aguirre really mixed up the cadence that time and got the defensive line for Poly off. I think he got up to the line of scrimmage and said, hut, 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 and then he got what he was wanting, and that was encroachment.
Well, when you've got somebody well into your offensive line, easy call there. 3rd down, about 6. Drop back by Aguirre. He's running out of time. Down he goes. And then a face mask will be called as he's brought down. It would have been a clean sack for Michael Brown, but he went up high, caught the face mask.
Now this was a linebacker blitz, and Michael Brown came in, and he was not blocked. The Poly Jackrabbits blitz a lot, and the offensive line did not pick it up. Yes, that was an obvious face mask call, and he could have really been hurt on that play.
That's, needless to say, a personal foul of the most vicious variety, but very close to being an ejectionable foul. If you watch this in real time, if we can watch that again, but don't slow it down. You want to talk about a neck snapper. This is it in real time. Watch his head. Wow. Back to live action. It is 3rd and 7 after the penalty marked off from the point of the sack. Pass to the end zone, bobbled and then broken up. Mark Wells had it in his hands, but he couldn't bring it down. Incomplete.
Marley Tucker made a fine play, but actually the ball should have been caught, and it should have been 6 points. Now Gary is just dropping back 3 steps and firing the ball away. Almost got it knocked down, and it really should have been a touchdown, but the ball was thrown a little bit behind him, but the receiver should have it.
Well, if it hits you in the hands, they say you should catch it. Wells, who just dropped that one, now into hold as Caceres in to try a field goal of 24 yards. Heavy rush, but the kick is up and the kick is good. Near the halfway mark of this first quarter, a little bit of a surprise brewing as the Millikan Rams, after forcing the turnover at their own 10, take it the length of the field, drive to eventually score on a field goal, and they take the lead, 3-zip. Back with more in a moment. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. 3-0, the Rams lead it after Leyland Haas's interception gets turned into a field goal by Caceres and company, a 24-yard field goal. We spoke that the Rams would have to play mistake-free football. Didn't talk about the Jackrabbits.
Well, the Jackrabbits find themselves in a little bit of a hole right now. That really could have been 7 or 8-0, and they've dodged a little bit of a bullet right there. The Rams had an opportunity to be ahead 7 or 8 points, but they'll take the 3.
Just winged them.
That's all.
It's an onside kick, and it's fumbled, loose ball, but the Jackrabbits, I believe, got it back. I like Tony Peralta's thinking, going for the surprise, but it may come back and backfire.
Well, Tony told me a couple of days ago that he has to play perfect football and come up with some gimmicks. This was the first gimmick number 1 for the Rams, and it was just a bad bounce of the ball. Otherwise, they would have had excellent field position. Now, David Sims comes up after one Jackrabbit bobbles it.
It didn't go 10 yards, but once it was touched by the Jackrabbit player, it's a live football. And fortunately for the Jackrabbits, they came in numbers. Kroom, huge hole over the right side. First down, stays on his feet, inbounds, finally out of bounds inside the 30.
The Jackrabbits run into the wide side of the field where your athleticism and quickness can pay off for itself. Just a straight kind of a veer handoff by Lewis, and Kroom done the rest. 228 yards, Willie, last week against the Dominguez Dons.
Which would have been probably Ho Ching and Kroom's total had they both been playing. This 3-0 deficit, nothing for the Jackrabbits. Remember, a couple weeks back when they played Muir High School right here on our Long Beach High School football game of the week, where they trailed 23-6 with 4 minutes left in the first half, only to come back to make it 23-21 before halftime, on their way to a 42-23 victory.
Nice seal block by the left tackle for the Jackrabbits, allowing for a nice run of about 8 yards. The Jackrabbits are running to the wide side of the field so far.
It is 2nd down and 1 after the 9-yard pickup.
Lewis changing the play.
The pitch goes back to Kroom. And it's a first down for the Jackrabbits.
With so many offensive weapons that the Jackrabbits have, an array of wide receivers, and we have seen Cirrus in the last couple of games play tight end, if you've been watching Jackrabbits football, and then Sammy Parker and Kawika Watson, Kareem Kelly. But nothing can happen without a fine offensive line, and these guys are not fancy. They just smash mouth power football.
There's a timeout on the field, and who's called it? I think the Rams have. Indeed, that is the call. As we get the call from Russ Jordan, we'll take a break. 5:36 left in this first quarter. Rams holding a 3-0 lead. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. During this 1997 campaign, the end zone of the visiting team here at Millikan High School Stadium has yet to be touched for pay dirt, as the Rams have held their opposition scoreless on their home field until now, as Ho Ching appears to be in, but it'll wait on a call. Ho Ching got to the 1. Meanwhile, Eddie Van Gijs has a report for us on the field. Let's go back down to Eddie.
Willie, all of us are very aware of the great team spirit here at Millikan. Tony Peralta and his coaching staff have done an amazing job. Well, there's something new here. I was talking to athletic director Chris Kinder. All the schools in Long Beach sell bottled water, but not exactly this type. Take a look at this. This is customized bottled water. You see it there. It says Millikan High School, home of the Rams. It's very popular. It's sold at all the athletic events. The monies go to the athletic department, and it's to promote team spirit and school spirit. And I got to tell you, I've never heard any more spirit here at Millikan than what we're hearing tonight, especially after that first interception. Let's go back up to the booth.
Well, Eddie, while we were away for that report, the Jackrabbits score the first touchdown against the Rams on their home field. And it was Larry Kroom doing the honors after the 14-yard gain by Ho Ching got oh so close. Placement down, kick is up on the point after, and the kick is wide left as it was missed. Carlos Casillas misses it. Kroom in with the score.
All he did was just bounce on the outside. Very easy play to run, and with a 1-yard touchdown.
Jackrabbits doubled up the Rams thus far, 6-3. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. Jackrabbits 6-3 over the Rams. They missed an extra point earlier, had a drive stopped on an interception. It has not been vintage Jackrabbit football, but still good enough to lead.
And that's one of the things that the coaching staff has been worried about in terms of their complacency and execution. But thus far, they're up 6-3.
The kick by Casillas, a booming one, virtually sends the receiver into the end zone. Battling back there, Kyle Moore, battling to get to the 15. That's about a perfect high school football kickoff, because if it's received in the end zone, it's a touchback. Once again, just like on a touchdown, football's got to break the plane of that goal line. In this case, it did not, although Moore's feet appeared to go into the end zone. The football did not, and he could get only to the 15. First down and 10 for the Rams, who had an impressive drive the last time they had the football. However, that one started at the 48. Different situation here. Aguirre has his backs in the I formation. The give to Grant. Grant's a good one to give it to. He picks up almost 6. As he gets out beyond the 20-yard line. He's a bruiser.
Yes, he's a perfect back for this type of offense, veer option offense.
Right now, he's about the perfect back for any offense. The complete to Kyle Moore, he had picked up about 4, but then in an effort to try and avoid would-be tackler Daryl Rideau, he lost a couple, but they'll give him forward progress at least to the 28. There's a break.
Kyle has been
23.
double coverage the early part of the season, and as a result, Eric Slater is the top receiver. Kyle Moore figured to be the top receiver, but when you get double coverage, it has to go to someone else, and they've chosen, when they have thrown the ball, to throw it to their tight end.
Jackrabbits yet to complete a pass. In fact, Lewis's only pass of the game has been intercepted. Quick pass, it's a double pass, and they've got Kyle Moore wide open, and it's incomplete. As wide open was Moore, and Mark Wells missed him. Oh, he missed him.
Well, the safety was suckered. Marley Tucker was suckered in on this play. It would look like it was going to be a hitch pass, and Marley came up. Now watch 23, and the ball was overthrown. It should have been 6, or it really could have been 6.
Well, in deference to Mark Wells, Kyle Moore should have kept running. It looked like he kind of got beyond the secondary and then waited rather than continuing to run, and Wells threw it trying to lead him, but once he lost that momentum, couldn't catch up.
Gimmick number 2 for Tony Peralta.
And 0 for 2 on those gimmick plays. Good kick. Fielded and bobbled. Loose ball, who's got it? The Rams got it in Pauley territory. Oh, this has been less than vintage Pauley football.
Well, the Rams will look back and say, we have opportunities to win this football game. Now, here's the punt, and the ball was bobbled right around on the 41-yard line. It was booted. Nice block there, but he should have just dove on the ball and covered it up. That's number 1, Sammy Parker.
And how about the play by E.J. Ashby, as not only was he able to get it away from Sammy Parker or knock Parker away from the football, but he was able to gather in the football as well. Fumble on the punt, or a muff, and the Rams get it back. DeAndre Grant, he's good for 10.
Well, the offensive line for the Rams is really cooking right now. This is an inexperienced bunch. Zuniga is the only returning lineman. Everyone else, this is their first varsity experience, or at least at starting.
Cooking with gas, you might say, as a first down on the run by Grant. Football now at the 35. Second turnover by the Jackrabbits. The first one, the interception by Lewis, turned into a Ram field goal. Again, it's Grant. This time, not nearly as much.
The offensive line for the Rams is a bigger unit than the defensive line for the Jackrabbits, and that may be an advantage when they have the football.
It'll be 2nd down and 7. Well, when you keep giving up turnovers and giving excellent field position, remember, this is the 3rd Ram possession. The first one on the interception, they started at their own 48, not bad. Here they start at the 45 of Pauley. On the kickoff, their second drive, they had it at their own 15, the only bad start. Timeout is called. Who's got it? It's called by the Jackrabbits. Timeout, 2:41 left in this first quarter. 6-3 Jackrabbits, but the Rams threatening. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. It was just a week ago in front of the cameras from Fox Sports West 2 that the Jackrabbits played so well against the Dominguez Dons. Now in front of our cameras, not very well at all.
Well, one of the things that Jerry Jaso, the coach of Pauley, was saying is that he was looking to prevent a letdown. Thus far, the Jackrabbits have not performed well.
Remember the first time we had the Jackrabbits in front of our cameras against Muir High School, they didn't play well for the first, about 20 minutes, but then turn it on. The carry beyond the 30, near the 25, the catch by Paul Ear. Again, very close to a first down.
And Herman Ho Ching coming in playing defense at safety, missed the tackle right here on a little swing pass. Now Herman Ho Ching is out here. He should have made the tackle, but Ear jitterbugged him and made him miss.
He needed to get to the 25, and by driving, he gets a first down. 1st and 10. Aguirre, 2 receivers to the left. I formation. That's a busted play as DeAndre Grant went left and Aguirre looked right. Imagine the surprise on the face of Aguirre when he looked up and didn't see DeAndre Grant.
One of the things that's becoming very apparent, Willie, as we look at a run play, and there was just nobody there, and Mike Brown gets him, but the Rams feel like they can throw the football against Poly, and they've thrown with some pretty good success thus far. Short passes and gimmick passes has been very successful for the Rams.
Rams have tried 2 gadget plays in this game, an onside kick as well as a double pass, and neither has worked. Actually, the double pass nearly worked. It was incomplete, however. Pass falls incomplete, brings up 3rd down and 10.
Coach Osborne, the offensive line coach for the Rams, was saying that the Jackrabbits are a very aggressive defense, so they'll probably blitz a lot in this football game, and his offensive linemen must pick up the blitz. And he feels like Dan Zuniga and Dan Draper must have good games at tackle tonight. There he is, Jerry Jaso, the king of the one-liners. If you get to know him, he keeps everyone in stitches. Right now, he's a little nervous.
3rd down and 10. Aguirre checks out the defense, rolls, has a man, but getting wrapped up was Wells, and flags come down. They're going to have pass interference against the Rabbits again. Or is it Kyle Moore? It's Kyle Moore who was wrapped up. It'll be pass interference. Ball in the air, and you can call it either interference or holding. Let's see. It's going to be against Millikan. Oh, it's going to be offsetting penalties. Let's roll that back again. They say it was ineligible man downfield. Who was downfield? 77. 77, watch. He looked like he was blocking for a running play. Desmond Otis.
Well, speaking of penalties,
he was blocking
the Rams
downfield.
did not have any penalties last week against Downey. They've already had 3 thus far tonight.
Again, 3rd down and 10 after the offset. Heavy rush, and the pass knocked down. It falls free. Oh, it was nearly picked off by lineman Ryan Ayada. Ayada blocked it, got it in his hands, and I think it was Aguirre who knocked it out of Ayada's hands. Watch Ayada block it and nearly come up with it. Quick hands.
Ayada's about 6'4", and he just jumped up like a basketball player and tried to get the rebound there.
But watch, see Aguirre, very good effort to keep it out of his hands. It'll be a field goal attempt as a result of 42 yards. Major effort for Kenneth Caceres. This would tie it. Wells to hold, placement's down, kick is blocked. Picked up by Caceres, but that was it.
Darryl Rudeau came in there and blocked the kick. Now that's probably his 7th or 8th block field goal since in his career at Poly. He had about 4 up in Las Vegas a year ago. No one blocked him.
The kick took too long to develop, and not a shoulder pad thrown on Rudeau.
Well, that 3-pointer early in the first quarter was the Rams' first successful field goal out of 7 tries, excuse me.
Ho Ching stopped at the line, and you won't hear me say that very often this year. Virtually no gain on the play.
That defensive line for the Rams, Steiner Falpusa, Javier Alvarez, Junior Taufi, and Tim English. The front 4 for the Rams.
Second and 9 after the 1-yard run by Ho Ching. Football at the 26. Mix up it appeared, but Kroom ends up with the football and not a bad gain. if busted plays could end like that.
The offensive line for the Jackrabbits had a powerful surge that time, about 4 or 5 yards, and was pretty simple for Kroom to pick up about 5.
Football at the 36 as time runs out here in the first quarter. And we'll take a break. Thus far, the Jackrabbits playing a little sloppy. Nevertheless, still lead 6-3. I'm Willie Padilla along with Errol Parker, the rest of our Charter Communications sports crew. We'll be back with our coverage of Long Beach High School football in just a moment. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. As we begin the second quarter, it is 3rd down and 4, and the pitch goes back to Ho Ching. He's got a first down. Still on his feet. He's got a whole lot more. It's a foot race. Ho Ching's winning it. Ho Ching is gone. Touchdown, Jackrabbits. $64 yards for Ho Ching.
And most of that was just individual effort and speed. As you watch Ho Ching's feet, and you really have to watch his feet. After an initial block, he is so elusive, and if you get hung up on his feet or his shoulder pads or something, you'll miss everything.
Huge run for Ho Ching. And now the point after, they'll go for 2 as they lead it by 9. Pitch goes back to Kroom. He's in, or is he? I called that one before he got in. It was such a huge gaping hole, but it closed quickly. However, he still got in. Now watch Ho Ching.
Watch his feet. And it just fools everybody. It was a nice seal block by number 5, Larry Kroom, to Springy. And he cuts around 3 Rams, and after that is a foot race. You want to get this guy in the open field, so they ran to the wide side of the field, or actually they faked to the short side and then went to the wide side.
For Ho Ching, he now has 117 yards rushing, and the Jackrabbits lead by 11. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. Jackrabbits turning on the Jets, lead it 14-3. The kickoff rolling, finally picked up by Kyle Moore. Not soon enough and not quickly enough. He tried to give it enough time to roll out of bounds, but in allowing that time to elapse, Jackrabbit defense was all over him.
Nice open field tackle by Justin Johnson, the linebacker for the Jackrabbits.
Either you've got to pick it up quickly or commit to let it go out of bounds, but to let it roll close and then
what he's trying to do is get the flow to come toward him and pick up the ball at the last minute and see if he can outrun him, but it just didn't happen.
1st down and 10 from the 10. First play of the second quarter, 64-yard score for Ho Ching. 1st and 10 from the 10. Not much. You figured the Jackrabbits would get used to that play, and now DeAndre Grant's fullback run not doing much but making a dent.
In talking with Coach Mickey Dixon for the Rams, he said he was going to run a base defense against the Jackrabbits because they have so much talent, and they've been trying to do that, but the Jackrabbits sprung a big play, something that they really didn't want to happen early in this football game.
Again up the middle. Well, it apparently getting used to that play didn't entirely help on that run. Grant got a good enough hold to get a first down.
Nice blocking up front on this play. And Ryan Iata came in with the tackle. But he was holding that ball kind of carelessly, it seems to me. And a helmet could have knocked it out of his hands.
1st down and 10 from the 24. 12-yard run by Grant. It's Grant again. Picks up about 8.
After the initial block at the line of scrimmage, Grant is a tough load to bring down. Now, the Rams offensive line has done a fairly decent job thus far on run plays today. But the Rams haven't been able to really cash in on 2 opportunities to score 6 points.
"51 yards rushing for Grant. Unlike Jackrabbits, the Rams have mixed up the pass and the run well, as Aguirre goes to a second receiver, and Wells, or not Wells, rather Moore, takes a shot at the end of the play, thrown a little bit behind him.
There's Coach Tom Morgan, the offensive line coach. Had a chance to visit with him. He's been a little frustrated with his offensive line. There's Coach Mickey Dixon. Oh, no, that's not Mickey Dixon. That was another coach. But Morgan has been working with this offensive line. He just got them together and healthy the last couple of weeks. This is the 3rd week that they've been really healthy. They're an inexperienced group, but they're doing a fairly decent job at run blocking thus far.
On the second down and very short play, they went for a pass. Now it would appear to be time for DeAndre Grant, but he doesn't get the football. He loses it. Recovered by the Jackrabbits, and then staying on his feet, refusing to go down.
David Sims.
Was that number 9, Sims?
It's either 9 or 19. I believe it was Sims.
It was Sims. Sims, they ought to consider him for the backfield. He refused to go down.
The handoff was muffed at the beginning, and Sims, the strong safety, picks it up, and almost a face mask here. He continues to roll, and they tried to strip the ball, and he picked up about 5 yards while they were grabbing for the ball. David Sims gets his first turnover.
Collier, the tackle, and the Rams' first turnover gives the Jackrabbits a golden opportunity at the 25. The pitch, double reverse to Kelly, and oh, they've lost a bunch of yardage on that play. And a flag comes down right at the end of that play that may nullify a whole lot of that. It'll depend. I think it's against the Rams. What a shame that would be. Face mask.
Tyler Verlinder and number 91 for the Rams turned that play in, Tim English.
Indeed, there was a face mask right at the tail end of that play. The guilty party was Tyler Verlander, as you mentioned. So how big a loss was that when you lose still one after getting a 15-yard penalty? That's a 16-yard sack on the double reverse. Still first down as you get the play over again. Kroom slips and falls trying to make a move.
That powerful Poly offensive line is moving the defensive line for the Rams back 4 or 5 yards at a clip. They pound you. There's nothing fancy. You don't want to see very many trap blocks or gimmick type of blocks for the Jackrabbits. They will come straight at you with that big, powerful line. And then when you have running backs like Kroom and Ho Ching, it can be very debilitating.
Second down and 5.
Oh, nice tackle.
Rams get together defensively, and that's what's going to take to bring down Ho Ching as they do just that.
Nice tackle by Verlander.
47 yards rushing for Kroom, 117 for Ho Ching.
The Rams will need some good defensive plays here to avert a touchdown. It's 3rd and 7. This is a big play.
3rd down and 6 after the 1-yard loss. The Jackrabbits need to get to the 15. 7:45 left, second quarter. Lewis to pass, and Kroom gets dropped shy of a first down. Good defense, and it's time now to take a break for us. We'll be back with more coverage of Long Beach High School football in just a moment. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. My name's Willie Padilla. Along with me, Errol Parker, Eddie Van Geis, the rest of our Charter Communications sports crew, led by Rob Meckinson, our producer-director. 4th down and better than 3 for the Jackrabbits, who figure it's too far to kick a field goal, so we're going to go for it. It would be a kick of 35 yards. I'm sure that's well within the range of Carlos Casillas.
One back offense, 4 receivers in the pattern.
But it's Ho Ching in the backfield. It is a pass by Lewis. It's complete to Kroom, who's tripped right near the first down marker. It's going to depend on the spot. I don't think he got it.
I don't think he got it either. He tripped. I think he tripped over his own feet.
To be honest with you, I think he got it, but I don't think the mark gave it to him. If you look at it, remember, it's where the football is at when his knee goes down. So although his knee would be blind, watch. When he goes down, that would take, well, that spot was...
I don't quite think he made it where the football was.
Well, let's put it this way. It was a lot closer than that spot would have allowed. And it is Millikan's ball, 1st and 10, as Kroom got to the first down marker, but not beyond it.
The Rams really need a nice drive here and a score.
Football at the 15, no gain. It's Grant at the bottom of that pile.
Millikan has mixed up their offensive plays. They have ran the ball fairly well, and they've passed the ball judiciously. So they are trying to keep the Jackrabbits back on their heels. They're not going to one thing too much. And they've even tried a couple of gimmick plays. So they're pulling out all stops in this football game.
2nd and just about the same. Flags come down.
Probably delay of game on the Rams.
That would take an awfully fast clock. Apparently, it is procedure. I was going to say, time moves fast enough. Don't need to speed it up. You can tell how fast time flies. We've been here for 10 years now. We can go back to the first year where Andre Borden, I believe it was, where Andre Borden scored a touchdown at the last play of the first half at this stadium. One of the most exciting moments we've ever had here on our Long Beach High School football game of the week, as Mark Wells, still on his feet, has a first down and a whole lot more as he gets finally brought down at the 39.
A little look-in pattern, a nice timing pattern to Wells from Aguirre. Right across the middle of the field, the heart of the Jackrabbit defense. He looked one way, and he knew where Wells was going to be. A nice timing pattern right in the middle of the field. Nice blocking downfield. Almost a clip there.
And how close was Daniel Zuniga to being downfield when that pass was thrown?
Sims got blocked really well, and finally Marley Tucker brings him down, the sophomore.
1st and 10 for the Rams, who've shown flashes of brilliance against this powerful Jackrabbit team. Grant gets beyond the line and then carries virtually the entire defensive line with him for a gain of 8.
What makes that play, Willie, is that Grant keeps the legs pumping. He carried 2 Jackrabbits for about 5 or 6 yards. So watch this play. Just a straight power eye. He almost bobbles the ball. Now keeps the legs moving. He carries Mike Brown for about 4 yards, and it takes Tuana and number 44, Nathan Tago, to bring him down.
Well, DeAndre Grant, the kind of player that can tell his teammates to get on his back, I'll carry you. But in this case, literally, he put the Jackrabbits on his back and carried them. Flag down prior to the snap. Encroachment against the Jackrabbits. 1st down, Millikan. That's a big penalty.
Well, the Rams have really had some opportunities here. They've been helped by penalties, a few penalties that Poly has had, and then they've helped themselves in some cases, but then they've shot themselves in the foot with penalties and turnovers.
Football at the Poly 48. Pass, it appears to be complete to Slater. Is it? He comes up with it. He's showing the football, and the grab is good at the 35. 1st down for the Rams again.
They go to their tight end, Willie, right out of the backfield, about 5 yards. Turnaround pattern. It was a nice throw by Aguirre. He has a strong arm. He just needs some protection, and he got it that time.
Not flashy, but effective. 2 receivers split out to the near side, one on the far side, but it's Grant who has the football, who gets stood up right at the line of scrimmage. How about that tackle for the Jackrabbits by number 40, Michael Brown. That's a couple of horses meeting head up.
And Mike Brown comes from his linebacking position, and he keeps his legs going as he moves DeAndre Grant back for about 4 yards, but his forward progress gets him right at 1 yard above the line of scrimmage.
That was an impressive tackle, but given his forward progress, a 1 yard pickup for Grant.
A good drive by the Rams.
Grant now 60 yards rushing, 2nd down and 9 from the 34. Big drop back by Geary. He's in trouble. Ayada drops him. He got back to very nearly the original line of scrimmage, but Ayada just sent him right down.
And he was slow by Seth Tago that time, the brother of Nathan Tago. He drops back. If they're covered in the backfield or in the secondary, and he decides to run for himself, but he doesn't get much or anything. I think it was a loss of 1.
3rd down, clock ticking, 3.5 left. And again, Aguirre goes down as, again, it was the pressure by Ayada. And then one of his teammates ends up on top of him. It was Cass Carissa who ends up on top.
This was an obvious passing situation, and the Jackrabbits really teed off. Ryan Ayada, this is really a fine pass rusher. The best the Jackrabbits have. He's a really fine rusher. He gets a good step on the snap, and he's very quick.
Well, Carissa ended up on top of Aguirre, and that drive comes to an end on a couple of sacks. It's a fake punt. Last week, Jordan pulled this for a touchdown, but Millikan 0 for 3 now on gimmick plays.
Well, you got to give Tony Peralta and the Rams some credit. They're trying to do some things to keep the Jackrabbits off balance. They have not been successful tonight on it. They could have been successful on the double pass play, but the ball was overthrown, and they tried to a squib kick, and that didn't work.
Well, the one thing that you've got to figure Peralta was thinking is that the clock is ticking towards the halftime break, not giving the Jackrabbits a whole lot of time to do anything. But we've seen this Jackrabbit team score and score quickly, just like this. Touchdown, Kareem Kelly hauls it in. Bang, just like that.
Well, Leland Haas and Alfred Durr got mixed up on their assignment. And as a result of 6 points. A nice throw and a nice pass pattern. And the Jackrabbits hooked up for their 3rd touchdown of the game.
Only the 3rd pass of the game by Lewis. 1 pass intercepted. 2nd pass worked for 3 yards. Actually, this is the 4th pass.
Kawika Watts at the end of that pass. It was a crossing pattern by 2 wide receivers on the wide side of the field.
Placement down, kick is up, and the kick this time is good. 21-3. This
like
is quick.
Kelly and Watts on a crossing pattern. And Lewis had a lot of time. That ball is about 40 yards in the air. No, that was Kareem Kelly who catches the ball, and Watts was at the other end of the pattern.
Touchdown, it's 21-3 Jackrabbits. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. 2:35 left in this first half. Too much time, as it turns out, for Tony Peralta to give the Poly Jackrabbits after the fake punt. Line drive kick. Sails through and into the end zone right between the 2 receivers. And it's a touchback. 2 minutes and 35 seconds left in this first half as Poly, talk about quick strike. First play of the 2nd quarter was a touchdown run of 64 yards by Ho Ching. And then this one play, 56-yard drive, touchdown again.
Well, the Jackrabbits have relied upon big plays in this game, and that's something that the Rams really didn't want to happen. Now, they're going to have to really assert themselves right now and come up with a touchdown here with 2:35 to play in the first half. in order to stay in this football game or get back into it.
Third consecutive sack of Aguirre. He was sacked on the final 2 plays of the previous drive, and here on the first play of this drive.
Luis Trujillo this time is the culprit who comes in and is not blocked. As we look at the bottom of the screen, Trujillo is come in virtually not blocked. It was a missed blocking assignment. Looked like number 67 for the Rams, Dan Draper, one of their top linemen, missed a block, and Trujillo came in and made the tackle, or the sack.
Football at the 15, 2nd and 15. And there's movement. The officials will determine who moved across or who drew who. The key to this game, as its procedure against Millikan, has been the quick strike ability of the Jackrabbits. They had a 3-play, 70-yard touchdown drive right at the end of the first, beginning of the second quarter, and then this 1-play, 56-yard touchdown drive, if that's what you want to call it. So in a matter of 4 plays, 2 touchdowns have resulted, and 126 yards of offense.
Well, the Rams are a little discombobulated right now, Willie. You like that word?
That's a big one, Errol.
The biggest word in 10 years that I've used on this broadcast, but they are. They're a little shell-shocked right now.
2nd and 20. The give goes to Ear, and he's able to squirm to the 15.
Actually, the Rams have moved the ball between the 20s pretty well, Willie, tonight. But when the moment of truth has come on 3rd down conversions in Jackrabbit territory, they fail. And as a result, they only have 3 points.
Well, that has been one of the strengths of the Jackrabbits this season. They, I don't know if bend but not break philosophy would be what you'd call it, but certainly when they feel challenged, they're able to respond, and respond in a big way. Aguirre in trouble, trying to find a receiver and buy some time, and he doesn't do either.
Looked like a face mask there, but they didn't call it. You know, when you're down by 18 points, you have to kind of throw the football, and then the defensive linemen are teeing off on you. And that's what's really happening right now. The Jackrabbits are very aggressive in the defensive line. Here's Ryan Ayata, spins around, and then Mike Brown, I believe, is number 44, Nathan Tago.
Oh, you know what? You're right. There was a face mask. Go back, if we can, roll that back. There was a face mask at the tail end of the play. Luis Trujillo, right here, grabs the face mask, because you can see Trujillo's helmet go back unnaturally. I haven't seen a head move like that since The Exorcist.
Well, that's a good point. But there was that other face mask was pretty brutal earlier in the football game.
Well, it proves it goes both ways. As timeout on the field, the Jackrabbits have 42 seconds on the clock, and they're going to get it back after this punt. Well, a face mask missed by the officials, it would have given the Rams a first down. So an important call here late in the first half. A gain of 2 on the play, if that's what you want to call it. Scrambling for his life was Aguirre. 4th and 13 from the 17. High snap, and the Rams barely get it away before the Jackrabbits pounce on it. Brian Fisher, just a sophomore. A youngster like that shouldn't be treated this way. But a high snap, and there was big trouble there.
Well, things are gradually going down the tubes for the Rams. After a promising start where they scored 3 points, could have scored 6, could have scored another 6 on the double pass, nothing has happened significantly well for the Rams since then.
Well, we've seen the quick strike ability of the Jackrabbits. They scored with 2:35 left, a touchdown on 1 play from 56 yards. So 1st and 10 from the 19, not much.
Lewis changing the play at the line of scrimmage.
Screen to Ho Ching. Ho Ching stays on his feet, scissors through a couple players, stays in bounds at the 13. Clock ticking, no timeouts left for the Jackrabbits. 18 seconds left. Let's see if Lewis is going to down the ball, as it's a hurry-up offense. And it is down. As we take a look at the replay, what the yelling you're hearing is that there was a belief that Ho Ching got his toe or shoelace out of bounds. He was a little far away for that.
Well, the voice you heard tenderly in the background is the voice of wide receiver coach Merle Mad Dog Cole. And he was trying to either talk to the officials or talk to his team from way up here, either to give them instructions or telling the referee that Ho Ching was out of bounds. But referees couldn't hear him or decided that Ho Ching wasn't out of bounds. And it's about 9.6 seconds left. Enough time for one play.
Football at the 15, ball down. As Lewis rolling, 8 seconds left. In trouble, time rolling out, throws it up for grabs. And it's picked off in the end zone with 2.7 seconds left. Was that Durr?
Alfred Durr.
Big pickoff because Lewis threw it up in essence for grabs, but he had a man.
But he was hurried. The pass was hurried, and he just kind of lofted it up there, giving Durr a chance to recover. Here it is. It was a sprint out, and he had to turn his shoulders, but number 32 for the Rams, Steiner Fapusa, hurried the pass. Number 4, Kawika Watts was he should have probably come back to the football. He was trying to stay in the end zone and wait for the ball to come to him.
Well, Lewis had it there. Watts should have come back to it, as you mentioned, and at least battled for the football. 2 guys went up for it for Millikan, Matthew Shaver, and then leaping over him to make the interception was Alfred Durr. So the INT spoils any thoughts the Jackrabbits had of getting a quick score right before halftime, as time ticks away here in the first half. With the Jackrabbits already leading 21-3, we mentioned that Millikan would have to play mistake-free football. Unfortunately, it has been anything but that. They did dodge a bullet here at the end. Jackrabbits haven't played extremely well, but this ought to show you how good they are. They're still up 21-3, and this has been a less than impressive effort.
Well, it certainly has. The Rams have had their chances to tighten up this lead in this football game, and the Jackrabbits haven't played that well except when they got an opportunity on turnovers and they struck quickly. The nice running of Ho Ching and Kroom and some nice passing by Lewis to his receivers. Good protection by the offensive line.
Indeed, it has been a big game for Herman Ho Ching, who has 116 yards rushing. Kroom also having a nice game, as he's better than 50 yards on the game, and Chris Lewis doing well. Tony Peralta standing by with Eddie Van Geis.
Coach Peralta, you find yourself down 21-3 at halftime. You've had scoring opportunities.
Yeah, and in a game like this, if you don't capitalize on them, they just don't come that often. But I'm proud of our effort. Our kids are fighting and they're battling, and we're in the game. We can come back. We get the first possession in the half. I think we're a couple plays away from making this closer and make it exciting. You got to love the crowd and you got to love the excitement of it, and that's what it's about.
And I think they're loving your offense. You mixed it up nice. I thought you were going to have a touchdown there when there was a pitch out to your running back. He threw it and it was a little bit long.
Oh yeah. That. Those are the kinds of things you need to have work in a game like this, and it didn't fall for us, but back to the drawing board.
All right, Tony, good luck in the second half.
Thank you, Eddie.
All right, Willie and Errol, 21-3 at halftime. I've got to agree with Coach Peralta down here. These kids, the spirit of Millikan, from the sidelines, the student body, everybody here, there's a lot of it here. A good second half coming up. Let's go back to the booth.
Thank you very much, Eddie. Well, the first half in the books, and the Jackrabbits lead at 21-3.
And Tony said we got them right where we want them.
Tell you what, Tony Peralta can find a silver lining in just about anything. It is 21-3 at halftime. I'm Willie Padilla, along with me, Errol Parker, Eddie Van Geis, the rest of our Charter Communications crew, led by producer-director Rob Mickelson. Having trouble with that one today. We'll be back with more in a moment. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. My name is Willie Padilla, along with me, Errol Parker, Eddie Van Geis, the rest of our Charter Communications sports crew, especially producer-director Rob Mickelson. As we get set for the opening second half kickoff with the Jackrabbits leading at 21-3. And neither team overly impressive. Millikan needed to be.
Well, Millikan needs a break, and they're going to still have to employ a balanced attack. They cannot abandon their running game and go to the air, because that'll only mean that the Jackrabbits defensively will be teeing off on them. So they need to run the football still, but that burns off a lot of time in the clock.
Excellent kick. Driven to the goal line. Ear takes it there. Too many moves between the goal line and the 10. Then he gets dropped at the 13. Ear was making all kinds of juke moves as he made his way towards the 10-yard line. He still wasn't within 20 yards of anybody. Should have just ran straight and direct. Get a little further out before you get dropped.
Had a chance to visit with Dave Radford, former Millikan football coach. He's the tennis coach now, also the scout for Millikan, and he was talking about how loyal the players are for Tony Peralta. They've been still working hard.
Somehow Dave Radford in the locker room before a tennis match would be interesting to hear. You got to hit him, you got to hit him hard. As the football is loose, Aguirre got popped as he was trying to set up, and it looks like the Jackrabbits have it right on the doorstep.
Well, that time, Willie, Herman Ho Ching came from his linebacking position for a strong safety and got Aguirre on a blitz. He was not blocked. Missed blocking assignment. They didn't expect him to blitz. Blitzing on first down.
And Aguirre was just releasing his hands, getting ready to throw. If his hands had been together, he might have been able to hold on. But right there, he was not only in the motion to start to throw, but also Ho Ching stripped him. Then he gets the football back for his teammate as Larry Kroom gets the football and then runs it in.
Now that's really disheartening for the Rams. They get the football in poor field position, but they do have the football, and then on the first play, it's a safety blitz, or actually a linebacker blitz, and they cough up the football, and one play later, the Jackrabbits scored. Now it's 27-3.
That touchdown, 5 yards, one play drive, 11:44 left, third quarter. Seen that before. Kick is good. We'll take a break. 28-3. Millikan will be getting it right back. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our coverage. As we've been here before, just seconds ago, Millikan receiving the second half opening kickoff. Now they'll be receiving the post-touchdown kickoff. Took all of 16 seconds for Millikan to get the kick, return it, set up one play, fumble it, give the ball to Pauly, and for them to score. All that in 16 ticks. Doesn't seem possible. I can't believe it. Imagine if you were a Millikan player. Here goes up to get it, this time running straight and direct. Gets to the 30 and a whole lot more. To the 40. Nice return. That's the way you do it.
Well, it's a credit to the Ram coaching staff to keep these boys playing hard. They're not quitting. That was a nice run, kickoff run back as he goes right up in the crease.
That kick was destined for the end zone. Ear went up high. One of the problems there for the tackling was that the defensive backs were all retreating. And so even in tackling him, they moved him forward 5 yards. First and 10 from the 41. Aguirre to pass, and down he goes again.
Mike Brown comes in from his linebacking position, and they're teeing off. They're going to have to pass much quicker, and they're going to have to throw screens and run the football. Aguirre is hurt.
Aguirre has been peppered by this Pauly defense.
The running back should have picked up number 20 for the Rams. Kendrick Knighton should have picked up the blitzing linebacker, but he never saw him. But when he saw him, it was too late.
Michael Brown taking Aguirre out. Appears to be a leg injury. We'll take a break with 11:19 left in the third. Injury time out on the field. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. Michael Aguirre on the sideline now as The Rams give it to the
Quarterback.
back through. That was number 20, Kendrick Knighton. And it's a pretty good pickup of about 5, as the new quarterback in is number 16, Taiwan Mixon. Prior to that run by Knighton, Aguirre had been sacked 5 times out of the last 8 plays, and that is not including, obviously, the punts. But that would also include him taking a knee. That would not be a sack, but that would still be one of those 8 plays. So 7 literal plays from scrimmage, 5 sacks. That's pressure. Pass by Mixon is incomplete, fortunately for him, underthrown, because right there was Darrell Rideau.
Well, you have to protect your quarterback. You're down 28-3. You know you have to pass the football, but sometimes you probably have to go to the run to protect your quarterback to live to play again, because, of course, in obvious passing situations, the defensive line and linebackers are teeing off and blitzing, and it's really tough to throw a pass. You have to probably throw quick passes in order to get them off.
This time a good snap and a bad punt. Fortunately, it takes a Millikan bounce, actually a few Millikan bounces. Brian Fisher, who had a bad snap at the end of the first half, and then had it partially blocked, this time got a good snap, then had it go off the side of his foot. Fortunately for him, it took several Millikan bounces downfield, but the Jackrabbits get it to 32.
Really tough spot for the Rams. They're down 25 points here early in the third quarter.
Aguirre, the quarterback for Millikan, shaken up. And now Mixon, backup quarterback, is taking some tosses on the sideline. Ho Ching, nice moves to the 50. Herman Ho Ching has been impressive in this game. Already over 100 yards.
That time, number 66, the pulling guard, Joe Veach, made a fine block to spring Ho Ching. He doesn't need much, Willie, to spring. And once he gets in the secondary, with the way he moves those feet and how fast he is, he's deceptively fast, he can create a lot of havoc in the defense.
135 yards rushing now for Ho Ching. 1 touchdown running. Kroom has picked up 52. He's got a couple of touchdown scores. Of course, Kareem Kelly, the 4th touchdown on the 56-yard pass from Lewis. It's Ho Ching again. Ho Ching, another big chunk of real estate as he gets another first down.
In order to be a student of the game, Willie, you really have to watch the offensive line or whoever's blocking for the running back. Oftentimes, fans look at the running back, even camera people will watch the running back, but then the offensive line really blocks well. That time, the running back, Larry Kroom, made the block to spring Ho Ching.
Well, turnabout is fair play. He'll expect Ho Ching to do the same for him on another occasion.
Absolutely, and when you get 2 running backs blocking for each other, then you got them working together, and they don't mind blocking for each other when the other one's doing well.
150 yards for Ho Ching. Tack on yardage by Kroom, and that's 200 yards rushing for the Jackrabbits. Passing-wise, Lewis has racked up 66. He's only thrown about 4 or 5 times. Pick up a 4.
Well, he got off to a less than auspicious start when he was intercepted on the long pass on the wide side of the field by Leland Haas in the first quarter, early.
Absolutely right. In fact, he's been picked off twice, thrown 2 incompletes. One was to down the football. And he's completed 3 passes. Caught or dropped? Caught. They'll say right at the 22 by Kelly. That'll be a first down.
Lewis had a lot of time. The offensive line gave him a lot of time on that play, Willie, and Kareem Kelly made the catch.
Meanwhile, we've got a report from Eddie Van Geis as the Jackrabbits get close to scoring.
Joining me right now, who better? Willie and Arrow, who better to bring you an update on injuries than the doctor that's here, Dr. Dan Haber. And Doc, it's good having you here working with the kids. First of all, can you give us an update on the quarterback and Millikan, Michael Aguirre?
Well, Michael's got a thigh bruise, which is a result of a helmet hit to the side of his thigh, and it's a benign, minor injury. He should be back if he can get this worked out. Probably swell up on him some, but he should be able to get back into the game, hopefully.
All right, you're very busy. I just saw DeAndre Grant going off the field, and I heard you say he won't return. What's the extent of his injury?
He has a sprained acromioclavicular AC joint. It's a minor variation of a separated shoulder. He just got a sprain of that joint that sometimes results in a separated shoulder. It's very painful. It's a minor injury. He should be fine in the long run, but short term, every time he gets hit on the shoulder, it creates a lot of pain. So very painful injury, but not a serious one.
Doc, you know, it's really great having you and other physicians that are covering high school sports. And go ahead, give a plug to your organization.
Well, I'm with the Southern California Center for Sports Medicine, and we're affiliated with Long Beach Memorial Hospital. We take care of many of the local high schools as a public service, just something we enjoy to do and stay in touch with the athletes. And we specialize in sports medicine injuries, so we're happy to take care of anybody with those sorts of things. Shoulder, knee, ankle, all that sort of thing.
You cover the entire body. Doc, thanks a lot. Pass on our thanks to everybody that's part of your group.
Thank you for the interview.
You're welcome. Willie and Errol, all I can say is that the kids in Long Beach here are athletes. They couldn't be in better hands. Let's go back upstairs.
And just in the nick of time as Larry Kroom gets into the end zone, but flags are down. Was that a delay of game? No, just kidding. That would be a flag, and it's going to be a hold. The delay on the field, that was joking about, but the hold in the field of play, and that'll cost the Jackrabbits.
Tough situation here for the Rams. Have to keep your head up. Have to keep playing. And even though it's a very, very tough situation, here we are early in the third quarter, 7:48 to play. They're down by 25 points, and the Jackrabbits are knocking on the door. This is the team, Willie, that averages 37 points a game. Scored 42 points in Fontana. You tell me the last time a team has done that to the Steelers.
Lewis going up top. Got a man, and he's close. Is he in? That's Kawika Watts. Oh, they're not giving the Jackrabbits any benefit of the mark. As Watts, oh, so close.
Nice timing pattern by Lewis. Excuse me, Willie.
Ironically, he may not have gotten in the end zone, but he got the first down. Look at the down marker, very close to the goal line.
Very quick pass, a nice rifle on the part between two tacklers, almost a touchdown.
Ho Ching, all he does is break the plane. He got popped shortly thereafter, but he did what he had to do. Ouch.
Well, Ho Ching has reestablished himself. Not that anyone doubted it. He was suspended for one game in that Fontana game that I mentioned just a second ago. One for a personal foul, another one for celebrating on the way to the end zone. Very questionable call, but nonetheless it stood, which means if you're thrown out of a football game in the CIF, you have to miss one more. The next game was against Dominguez, a big game. Jason Thomas missed that one for an injury, but the Jackrabbits prevail.
Point after is good. Watch Ho Ching. He got popped right at the goal line by Schauber. But he did what he had to do. 35-3, Jackrabbits. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. Brought to you by the Long Beach Unified School District, David Electronics, and Cerebello Sports Stop and Restaurant. Not to mention good people at Charter Communications, headed up by our producer-director, Rob Meckhamson. My name is Willie Padilla, along with me, Errol Parker and Eddie Van Geis. As this kickoff, a short kick, takes a bounce at the 15, where Ear picks it up, gets to the 20, a little bit of a hole, cuts to his left, can't get away. That was a nice tackle in the open field for Long Beach Poly by number 25, Antoine Casey. Ear made a move to his left, Casey followed.
And if Casey had not made that nice open field tackle, it would have been a lot of more yardage on that particular kickoff. Those are the kinds of things that have happened to the Rams. They've just been a little bit away from making this game competitive.
Well, they have not been their own best friends fumbling on the first offensive play of the second half, handing the ball to the Jackrabbits at the 5. Of course, they would score one play later. Follow a bad punt, getting in the end zone on that ensuing drive.
Now, I like that play. Knowing that the defensive line is charging in there, they're kicking the ball out on a little short option play to kick the ball outside. That's the kind of things you need to do to protect your quarterback. Not trying to go for any home runs, quick passes, screens, those kinds of things when you know that you have to pass and even have a remote chance of getting back in the football game.
And on that note, Aguirre back in the lineup for the Rams as he dumps off to Kyle Moore, and Moore gets across the 45 before being brought down. And the tackle, once again, very close to a face mask.
Gary's a tough kid, gets back in there after that thigh injury that was reported by Eddie Van Geis, and throws a completed pass in the center of the field.
So 14 yards on the pickup. Gary to Moore.
Kyle Moore, fine receiver.
It's been a fairly effective passing game for the Rams in this ball game.
I think the Rams have a bright future to look ahead in this Moore League race. I think they're going to be right in the thick of it.
Get a grip shot as well.
The give, I believe it's Knighton who got it.
Good call, going into the interior heart of the Poly defense to keep the Poly defense off balance a little.
Where is DeAndre Grant?
He was injured. Eddie Van Geis reported that he will probably not be back, a shoulder injury.
Fortunately for me, I have you listening more closely to the report from Eddie Van Geis as he's going for more Aguirre, and he shows the strength of his arm, however, overthrowing his receiver.
Excellent point, Willie. He just kind of lofted it out there really quick, and he overthrew him as it looked like is it Kyle Moore out there? Going toward Kyle Moore, and he really overthrew him. But Kyle Moore had his man beat. Now watch this arm, really. He just kind of flicks it out there. Very strong arm. Kyle Moore had Darryl Rodeau beat deep.
It is now 3rd down and 10. Aguirre again going up top. He's got Moore. Moore makes a nice move, gets the first down, runs into his blocker, then runs into a whole lot of Jackrabbits. Unfortunately, you can credit that tackle in part to Dan Draper, teammate and blocker.
2 wide receivers on the wide side of the field. A pump fake, but he gets hit at the end, and it was a nice pass to Moore. Actually bumped into his own man, but he gets the first down. Kyle Moore, very fine receiver. This time, Aguirre goes to him again.
That's 1st down and 10 for the Rams, who, as you mentioned earlier, doing quite well, moving in between the 20s. It's when they get beyond that, they start having problems. Ryan Ayada makes like a rag doll with Aguirre, tosses him down back in Ram territory. Ouch.
Now, this type of game right now where a team has to pass is really made to order for a defensive end like Ryan Ayada. He's tall, he's big, he's quick, and he knows that it's not going to be too many run plays, and he's going right after that quarterback. He's going to be a fine college prospect, him being a senior next year going to college.
Pass complete. It's Durr. He's got a first down, slips a tackle, gets to the 35, did not get the first down, got beyond the original line of scrimmage. I saw the down marker at the 40. He only got to the 35, needed to get to the 30.
Nice call, a quick pass, inside screen, kind of like to Durr for some good yardage.
13.
The Rams have racked up quite a bit of yards here in this football game, but they have not, in the moment of truth on 3rd down plays, they have not been able to convert another big 3rd down play for them right now.
Geary stopped.
Nathan Toggle did not give up. He was blocked in the backfield by number 20 for Kendrick Knighton for the Rams, but he did not give up on the block. He did not go dead. He followed that play all the way to the end and eventually got the quarterback before he had a chance to throw.
That'll bring up 4th down and 8. And when you're down 35-3, the punter can take the rest of the night off. Rams have to go for it. They need to get to the 30. Geary dropping back, throws a screen. It's up to Ear now. Ear gets close. Does a square dance spin. And I think he got the first down.
He appears that he got the first, yes, first down.
Talk about getting just enough. One of the Jackrabbits grabbing his partner, doing a do-si-do with Paul Ear.
Pretty good protection for Geary that time.
Well, when you get rid of it in 2.3 seconds, that's enough.
You really have to, because those linemen are really coming on obvious passing situations.
1st and 10, 2:54 left in the 3rd. The Rams showing some life. Oh, as Geary ducks, passes it to Wells, completes it at the 25.
I really like this kid Aguirre. Mike Aguirre's a tough customer.
Nathan
He's
Tago.
athletic. Beg your pardon?
Nathan Tago had a shot at him.
Sure did. He ducked. You know, just like going under the bridge.
Nathan Tago takes a swipe.
He blocked the wrong guy, actually, and he throws a nice pass. He didn't get a chance to square his shoulders to number 82, Mark Wells.
Aguirre rolling to his right, going for the corner of the end zone for Wells. It's up for grabs, incomplete, out of bounds. But there's a flag down at the 12. Could be a defensive hold.
It was a battle between Antoine Casey, and Wells.
It is a pass interference.
Nice block by number 22, Paul Ear.
Pass interference, the call at the 12. As you see the pass up for grabs, Antoine Casey, Mark Wells going after it. But the flag downfield.
Oh, I don't know about that call, Willie. I think both guys are going after the football. What do you think?
Well, the pass interference occurred further upfield,
okay.
As I would imagine that it was Wells probably knocked out of bounds, which is where he went up for grabs on that pass.
I was just kind of looking at where the ball was when they both went up, but perhaps it happened before the ball went up. Okay.
That's the indication. 2:09 left in this 3rd with the Jackrabbits up by 32, 35-3. Even playing as poor as they have, they've been outstanding. But they've had a couple interceptions, a fumble on a punt. They've had some lapses. Still up by 32. Not much on the give. And this defense, not much of a question mark if there is one. They've shut down this Ram team. Their field goal came after the interception by Leyland Hassan at first quarter, after the first drive, in fact. And after the first offensive series, it was 3-0 Millikan, 35-zip since. Aguirre running out of time, throws it. He's got Slater. I'll tell you, Slater's got some great hands. Makes the grab at the 5.
I'm sorry, I really like this Millikan football team. They are really playing hard, and they're executing pretty well in spots in this football game. Nice block. So the quarterback had more time. Good tackle right there, right on the 5, but it was a reception.
That's a chiropractor's deluxe right there. As Aguirre in trouble. This defense relentless for the Jackrabbits. They put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. Maybe, as you mentioned, if there's any weakness in the secondary, the potent pass rush for the Poly defense really does give the secondary a break.
But, you know, in all fairness to the Millikan Rams, when you have to pass and the defensive line knows you have to pass, you can put a lot of pressure. That puts a lot of pressure on the offensive line for a team when you really have to pass.
When you don't have that running back like DeAndre Grant to offset it. 46 ticks left on the third quarter clock. We'll take a break. All Poly with the Rams on the doorstep. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. My name is Willie Padilla, along with me, Errol Parker, Eddie Van Geis. As the Rams have driven inside the 10 to about the 6, but they face fourth down and about 3. I think the priority would be getting the first down, getting in the end zone later.
Well, they had a chance to talk with Reggie Butler for the Jackrabbits. I believe Butler is number 40. No, that's Michael Brown. He's a sophomore. Reggie Butler, number 32, middle linebacker. How many times have you heard a sophomore playing, calling the signals on a really fine football team? But Reggie Butler from Hughes Middle School is a middle linebacker. Talk more about that a little later.
Mean middle school in football, I bet. As the fourth down play for the end zone, the catch, was it made? Yes. Touchdown. Great catch by Kyle Moore as he had Darryl Rideau all over him.
And a nice throw, a nice timing pattern. They worked on that in practice, obviously. Good to see the Rams score. March down 35-9 now. On a good cornerback, one of the best in CIF, Darryl Rideau.
Aguirre had some zip on it. Not a great pass as it was thrown a little bit behind the intended receiver. But Moore showing some guts and some gusto. Staying his ground. Mark Wells to hold. As Ken Caceres on to try the point after. 40 seconds left in the third. All the scoring in this game seems to come around the quarter breaks. Kick is up. And the kick is good. Wells got drilled, the holder.
Now watch the replay. You know, actually, this is it's a nice out pattern. The defensive back does not know where the ball is, so you do have to come back to the football. It was really a nice throw because they really practice that type of pattern. Rideau playing good defense, but he didn't know where the ball was. He has to play the player.
35-10. Rams have scored. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our coverage of Long Beach High School football. Millikan High School trying to return to their championship tradition of the late 1970s when they captured the CIF title in 1977 and 1979. Long Beach Poly, last time they won a title, I think 85, when co-coaches Whiting and Jaso took them to the tie against Edison 14-14.
The last time the Jackrabbits won a CIF championship was the 1980 season when they defeated Santa Barbara and Cerritos College, and Randall Cunningham was the quarterback for Santa Barbara.
That was with Coach Jim Barnett, I believe.
Yes, it was.
That onside kick, not onside, as it does not go the mandatory 10 yards. Poly will get it as a result.
And speaking of that game, Willie, one of the running back coaches of the Jackrabbits right now is Kirk Jones, who was a sophomore running back at that time for the Jackrabbits. He went on in great fashion in his last 2 years, was one of the leading running backs in the CIF and went on to UNLV.
He put the run in the Running Rebels.
Certainly did. Randall Cunningham, of course, went to UNLV and put the throw in Throwing Rebels, if we want to call them that.
I'm not touching it. 40 seconds
Please
left.
don't.
40 seconds left in the third. Lewis is going for it all. He's got Kelly. He doesn't have the ball. Oh, Chris Lewis. He just put it right in his hands.
Good protection. Play action pass. He had all the time in the world he needed. He just put that a perfectly thrown ball by Chris Lewis, and Kelly had his man beat all the way and lost concentration at the very end.
You know, that gazelle-like leap would have looked a lot prettier if he had held on.
Yeah, just continue to run under the football and let it run, cradle it right in your arms.
They'll try it again. Instead, the screen to Kroom. Lewis takes a shot after completing it. Oh, Kroom is all over the field. He gets a block from Ho-Ching. He's out of here. Touchdown. Larry Kroom, the distance. Ho-Ching threw a monster block. Oh, man.
Kroom is really exciting to watch. Getting him in the open field on the swing pass, he is just as dangerous as a running back. And then he gets a block from his friend, Herman Ho Ching, who has almost 200 yards at this point, showing that those guys are working together. And he gets a touchdown. This had to be about 50 yards.
Well, that answers the Rams score. There's still 16 seconds left in this third quarter. Remember, the Rams scored with 40 seconds left. And now, after the high snap, the toss towards the back of the end zone gives a clear indication it wasn't a fake point after or a two-point attempt.
Watch the read. Now watch this block that you were talking about, Willie. Oh, nice block there. Kroom just cruises in the end zone. Not that the tackler was going to get him anyway, but really the story of that whole run was his changing and reversing fields, and that was very exciting.
45 yards north to, or south to north, but it was about 60 overall. Touchdown Rabbits, 41-10. If you would have told Tony Peralta that you'd have 306 yards rushing from your backfield, including 208 from DeAndre Grant on 24 carries, and 192 yards passing from your quarterback Dan Beaudry, and that's with still 6 minutes left in the game, he'd have been extremely happy. But you didn't tell him what the score was. Then he might not have been just quite as happy as that. But with a two-point conversion here, it may bring a glimmer of hope and a wry smile to the head coach now in his 5th season. Anderson in motion.
Trips on the right side.
Rams going for a deuce. Beaudry in trouble. Beaudry buys time, can't get rid of it, shovels it, and it's intercepted, broken up, and there's no 2 on this play, and there may be no tomorrow for the Rams. We'll take a break, down by 9. 6:05 left. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. It began with a Millikan touchdown. Pauly followed with a fumble that was returned 42 yards for a score. That is really what helped propel Pauly to their 14-7 first half lead. In the second half, both teams have shown that they have some explosiveness and from an unusual source.
Watch the onside kick.
It should be an onside kick. It is, but it's right at one of the Rabbits who pays the price, getting hit hard by Randy Scott. But no pain, no gain. Edward Diggins is digging that.
Well, I just knew that they were going to have an onside kick. I mean, you have to do it at this juncture in the football game. It was a beautifully executed onside kick, but Johnny on the spot at the 49-yard line, and his name wasn't Johnny on the spot. Who was it?
It was Diggins.
Yeah.
Here comes Ho Ching. Ho Ching just sweeping someone out of his way. Another big run for Ho Ching.
Ho Ching running on the outside, getting to the outside and then using his agility to get additional yardage. That's something that opponents are going to have to really watch. Now watch the blocking here. Nice seal block by Saints number 81 to spring Ho Ching. And he slaps a la Deacon Jones number 15 for the Rams, Tobin, and then finally gets dragged down mercifully at the 29.
177 yards rushing on only 9 carries for Ho Ching. And 169 of those yards in the second half. That's amazing.
He's a tough, punishing runner. I mean, every time I go on the campus on the week of the Poly games, and we've covered it, Ho Ching and I have had nice conversations about his future. This young man wants to go to college. He's taking college preparatory courses. And he's concerned about his brother, Danny Ho Ching, in Hawaii, who underwent cancer surgery last year, and he's doing fine in Hawaii.
Second down and 4. The give goes to Ho Ching again. This time he's ridden down from behind. Great defensive play for Millikan. That one turned in by number 98 Odom for the Rams. That would be Michael Odom, and he just roped and hog-tied him down.
Well, you know, I was talking to Odom, and he was talking about his, he's a younger brother, and his younger brother says, my brother, speaking of Michael, my brother can run over anyone. And he may not run over anyone, he can tackle anyone as he brought down Ho Ching on that play.
In this second half, Ho Ching, the only runner the Jackrabbits have used, and he is the only runner in the backfield now. 3rd and about 3. Ho Ching could sniff the first down marker, but then
it was Odom again.
He was drilled back.
And they're using your strategy, Willie. They're just actually handing the ball off to their bread and butter back, Ho Ching. But you always got to worry about Kelly and Rambo and Saints catching the football, although they will not probably pass it with about 3:45 left in the game. A stellar performance by the Jackrabbits, but no less a stellar performance by the Rams. Possibly their last game of the season in this fine season that they've turned it around. Winning all 5 of their preseason games, but coming up short. The key game was against Jordan when they had a chance to win it.
Indeed. 3:31 left in the ball game. Timeout, Pauly. Let's take a break. Back with more in a moment. Welcome back, folks, to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. Our 10th and final regular season game of the 1996 season. Our 100th game of coverage during our 9 years on Channel 3 of CBI and other companies which have owned the property during our tenure in this area. And we've been fortunate, Errol and myself, to have done those games for you. And it has been a lot of fun.
It's been a lot of fun, Willie, a lot of fun. I look forward to it every year.
It's Ho Ching, first down. Pauly's going to hold on to the football. Millikan may not get it back.
When we remember the likes of Willie McGinnis and Leonard Russell and some of those guys who, Pauly, who's playing in the NFL now, and there are some others who've played in other teams that just don't think of him right now.
And not sending us any money either.
No, not for the publicity and promotion, but these guys, it makes this broadcast historic. And I've really enjoyed it every single second of it.
Well, apparently the official's not quite as sure as I am that it is a first down and all but over, but it is a first down indeed. And the Jackrabbits will hold on to the football. They do not necessarily need to score. They're up by 9, meaning that the Rams would need 2 scores. You can think back to the 2 field goals that were blocked and did not even get off or beyond the line of scrimmage.
As we look at the defensive line for the Rams, we saw Alvarez. We say Alvarez there in Odom.
Gardner.
And we think back earlier in the season, in the summer, when they were all together, as we see the Poly Jackrabbits create a penalty.
John Keys left just a little early, you think?
Yeah, John Keys, that senior, number 79, offensive lineman for the Jackrabbits. I think back to the summer when the Rams went through their hell week at Millikan, not going home for a whole week and a half, staying there in bondage. And then they came out and had a fine summer practice. And then in the fall, they won 5 of their preseason games and got off to a great start.
Okay.
Well, of course, there's 3 different types of rock, sedimentary, igneous, but what Tony Peralta built was a metamorphic rock out of his Millikan Rams as the heat and pressure of the Hell Week and the summer practices came to create a different type of team that he has had in the past. And that would be not only the definition of a metamorphic rock, but also of what he built here.
Yeah, he's done a fantastic job. He's doing some things with these young men that should be done in a lot of other football programs.
Encroachment against Pauly, and we'll go down to Eddie Van Geis.
Joining us on the sidelines is Cedric Rambo. He is the father of Kenyon, the great athlete for the Poly Jackrabbits. First of all, how does this young man stay focused with all the attention he's getting?
Well, he has a lot of help from the house and the family. We try to remind him, and he does pretty good about that type of thing because he's been in the competition of athletics for quite a few years now.
He's got some good guidance, and I know that the Rambos, you guys were all great athletes. Tell us about your background, Cedric.
Well, I played at Long Beach Poly and went to Long Beach City, and then I went to Cal Poly State, San Luis Obispo, and I was fairly successful in my football career. I was a decent player.
Your son's an All-American and one of the best in the country. I imagine the phone rings off the hook regarding recruiting for college.
Quite often, quite often. It runs us a little crazy sometimes, but we're hanging in there.
Can you give us any kind of clues how many schools he's got it narrowed down to?
I'll say about 5 or 6 schools right now.
No names mentioned?
Ohio State, University of Texas, Cal, UCLA, SC, Arizona, Arizona State, and San Diego State.
Cedric, thanks a lot for visiting with us. Willie and Errol, you know what? There's a saying. They say that fast horses make fast horses. The Rambos are definitely a bunch of thoroughbreds. Let's go back upstairs.
I was really wondering where Eddie was going with that, but I'm glad he did, as it is now 1st and 17 for Pauley, as there was a gain of 16, brought back 10 after the holding was marked off.
Well, it was an apparent touchdown by Ho Ching on a swing pass that was nullified by a penalty. And now they give the ball to Ho Ching again. Kroom leading the blocking. And they get some of that yardage back. But the nail is already in the coffin. 35-26, 9-point lead by the Jackrabbits, and threatening.
Six yards on the carry for Ho Ching. And now a delay of game. Well, Pauley certainly had it going on until this last stretch of time where they have been penalized quite a bit over the last few moments.
Well, they held it together in terms of penalty. They kept down the penalties in the first half. Only had a couple, maybe 2 or 3. But they've had a number of penalties in this football game. It hasn't been a deciding factor in it, but certainly looking ahead in the playoffs, Willie, when you know, with the Jackrabbits in the position of being a 7-3 football team, they are going to probably face quite a stellar first-round opponent. You know, Bishop Amat, the defending champions, is in 3rd place. Fountain Valley, a good football team, and the Sunset League in 3rd place. They can meet either one of those 2 teams. Here's Kroom.
Kroom trying to get around the corner. And on the play, the officials blow the whistle as timeout called by Millikan with 1:20 left in the ball game. Let's take a break. Hi folks, welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. It's gotten kind of ugly, but in the last few moments, Pauley has been penalized considerably. Let's see, there's 2, 3, 4 penalties, 5 penalties in the last 7 plays. That's a lot. We'll hold it at 4 penalties. Up top for Rambo, touchdown. On 3rd and 10 from the 18, that's 6, and the Rams are 6 feet under.
You know, with Rambo catching that touchdown pass, his 3rd varsity year, he has had 3 different quarterbacks. He started off with Rob Toller as a sophomore. Last year, he had Morris Smith, and this year, Chris Lewis. That's kind of difficult for a receiver to work with 3 different quarterbacks in 3 consecutive years.
Point after coming up with 1:14 left. Kick is up, and the kick is good. Take a look at the pass, and Rambo making it in traffic.
Nice rollout pass, good blocking by Ho Ching to keep a lineman off Lewis. And between 2 receivers, a nice touch by Lewis. One of the things that Jerry Jaso said about Lewis is that he has a nice touch.
15-point lead for the Rabbits.
Interview.
We'll take a break. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. It is 42-26 as Pauley has scored on every drive in the second half.
And they average 40 points a contest in the Moore League. And that's simply incredible. They struggled in the preseason, losing to Antelope Valley and Green Valley of Nevada, and we saw one against Esperanza that they let slip away, 25-24.
Boy, did they.
There were 2 touchdowns ahead in the 4th quarter. But when you're going up against Don Parrish, one of the fine passers in CIF, that can happen.
The Rams, they lose the football. They had a good return coming back. And now
I bet it's Daryl Rideau. I bet it's Daryl Rideau at number 22 getting the football. And I think I'm right. Daryl Rideau seems to always be around the play. He fumbled at first, and then he fumbled at the end.
A good return was going. But then the fumble.
One Jackrabbit. One.
1st and 10, take the knee.
Well, the score is not really indicative of the competitiveness of this contest. The Jackrabbits poured it on late to put the ball game away here late in the 4th quarter, but the Rams, Willie, answered the bell 2 or 3 times, and we thought that they were just dead and buried.
Rams can go off this field with their heads held high. I know that is a cliche used all too often, but in this game, they played exceptionally well, played as well as anybody in the Moore League has played against this team. This team has a shot at a CIF title. The Rams have nothing to be ashamed of, and I think they probably will be a little prouder of their loss against Pauley in this game than they were against their victories that they were chided so much about against what would seem to be inferior competition. They played well despite what the scoreboard indicates.
They played much better than any other Moore League team to play the Jackrabbits. As we see Jerry Jaso take the football to get their consecutive Moore League championships.
And in the second half, what a performance by Pauley is. In the first half, they were held to just 118 yards of total offense. They came back with 236, literally double their first half performance, to finish with about 350 yards of offense. Millikan, I'm going to add up the numbers, but they were truly impressive in this game.
They were impressive from an offensive standpoint. They had a great game plan. They ran between the tackles and did it successfully, and they threw the ball judiciously and was successful at doing that. They just could not stop the big play, high-powered Poly offense to come up with the victory. But they really have nothing to be ashamed of because they scored 26 points and they kept this game close for 3.5 quarters.
Meanwhile, Jerry Jaso, whose team is now heading towards the playoffs as the #1 seeded team out of the Moore League.
But they will have a tough time because of their record, 7-3. Even though they're the champions, they will probably play a tough first-round game, tougher than whether if you were 10-0 and a seeded team.
Let's go down to the field with Eddie Van Geis.
Winning coach Jerry Jaso of the Poly Jackrabbits. Jerry, congratulations, another Moore League championship, but it was a very hard-fought game tonight against Millikan.
Yeah, I mean, I was not very pleased with the way we played defensively. Obviously, we've got left something to be desired out there. We didn't tackle well, but, you know, you got to give a lot of credit to Tony Peralta and the Millikan football team. They came out and played their tails off tonight, and as I said before the game, he's got a team playing this year. They're playing well. I was really pleased with our offense, though, because we responded to every challenge. I mean, they came after us and scored and played tough in the 4th quarter, and we responded to every one of them.
Your team's come a long way, and as you mentioned, your young quarterback, Chris Lewis. This team, I've seen them improve so much throughout the course of the year. What about the playoffs, and how does this team compare with last year's team going into the CIF playoffs?
Last year's team a little bit older, a little bit stronger, so it's tough to say right now. You know, we need to see what we can do to improve some of the things we did defensively. And also we need to get a little better offensively, frankly. I thought we stumbled a little bit early on there.
Coach, we know you're gutsy all the way. We saw it through the playoffs last year. Again, congratulations. And give them you-know-what in the playoffs, all right? All of Long Beach is behind you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Eddie. I appreciate it.
All right, winning coach Jerry Jaso, the Poly Jackrabbits. What can you say again, Poly? They are the power in football, but tonight they were certainly tested. Let's go upstairs one more time to Willie and Errol.
Well, it was a good game for both these ball clubs, but only one is heading for the playoffs, and that is the Poly Jackrabbits. We'll be back to wrap this one up in just a moment. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. We come to you from Long Beach City College at Veterans Stadium, where the Long Beach Poly Jackrabbits have just finished defeating the Millikan Rams by a final of 42-26, and thus the king is crowned in the Moore League as the champion has been chosen. The Jackrabbits at 5-0 go to the CIF playoffs as the #1 representative out of the Moore League. It also decides how the rest of the teams finish up with respect to the playoff teams. Wilson will be the #2 team, and Jordan #3 going into the playoffs. Let's talk a little bit about Millikan, a team not going to the CIF playoffs. Here's a team that played extremely well. If you would have told Tony Peralta that you're going to gain 500 yards of total offense against this Poly team, he would have been very pleased, although I'm sure still disappointed with the loss.
Unbelievable. The Millikan performance this evening, nobody played a quarter and a half shutting down the Poly offense. So first of all, the great year they've had, but I think coming into the game, I talked to people, what do you think about their chances? And I heard things like 4 touchdown, 5 touchdown underdogs. An amazing performance. Tony Peralta's got nothing but better things ahead, and their kids have played well. The entire defense hung in there, and then you've got a couple of Joshes, Weller and Jordan, and DeAndre Grant rumbles for 90 yards, 250 pounds, and I'm telling you that the fast horses couldn't catch him. So our hats off. Millikan is on the football map.
Indeed. In fact, I mentioned earlier that they may be prouder of their performance in the loss to Poly than they were in their victories during the non-league season, because they played extremely well and really deserve a pat on the back for their outstanding performance against this outstanding team from Long Beach Poly. Here's a team, and my partner Errol Parker mentioned at the outset that they have an explosive offense. How about this? They gained in 13 plays in the third quarter and early in the fourth quarter. They gained 210 yards in just 13 plays, scoring 3 touchdowns. That is indeed explosive.
And they've been explosive all year, and they've averaged 40 points a game, and they've done a very, very good job. Of course, the coaching staff is not pleased after giving up so many points from the other side of the football. They're going to have to work on that in the playoffs, but let's give them their kudos. Last year's team was a great team offensively, pretty good defensively. This team has stepped up to the challenge with so many inexperienced players, but now they're experienced, and they have a sophomore-laden football team, and they're going to be a team that's been going to have to be reckoned with in the playoffs.
Well, the final was 42-26. I mentioned at the outset that Millikan wanted to find out if they were Rams or Lambs. Well, you can call them Rams because they played like men, and you can call Long Beach Poly champions because they are the #1 team in the Moore League going into the CIF Southern Section playoffs. Well, that does it for game number 100 in our 9 years of coverage here on CBI. Also, the 10th and final regular season game of our 1996 campaign. Well, that does it from here. My name is Willie Padilla. For Errol Parker and Eddie Van Geis and the rest of our CBI sports crew, especially our producer-director, Rob Makeumson, thanks once again for joining us, and we'll see you next year right here on our Long Beach High School football game of the week.